It's funny how he grew that, you know, from this morning. It popped right out of it.
A lot easier than holding a camera like that, though. Yeah. Was it on this tour last time where the highway had signs for the politician all along it?
Here's what she was talking about. They were there again.
I must have slept through that part.
Yeah, they were all up there again.
Okay, I missed it. I knew I was falling asleep. And
yep, they were there. It is much cooler.
yeah, cooler than it could be. Democratic is red.
Well, we are Democratic.
Yes.
Two parties are Democratic. One of them is represented by the People's United Party, and we have the United Democratic Party, which is the Party. The guy that you see on the board having the Castro, he is the mayor of the district.
Once is trying to.
Yes, that's his slogan.
Okay.
Johnny Park, that's his slogan.
Oh, okay. Any relation to the Cuban Castro?
No.
Oh.
No relation.
Okay.
The Mahoganies, we're moving that way, following Marvin. If you have someone in the restroom, not a problem.
Is this a mahogany tree right here?
It's mahogany. No. There is one in there. And you get to see a larger one.
No problem.
Small one inside, and then there's a larger one. Right at the curb right there.
I think so.
Last year, and he said, the very same ones? I said, yeah. It was just coincidence, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased about that.
Morning, guys.
Good
Morning.
How's everyone doing this morning?
Just fine.
Okay, if you got your bug spray, guys, you put it on, okay? Don't, then I don't have side to side.
Guys, if you're ready, we can start moving.
vines are growing over the plum tree. We don't know the scientific name. We call it spar in the earth because again, the vine does not grow on the ground itself. It grows on top of another tree. So that too will cover the entire plum tree and the plum tree is going to die. Probably in another year. Alright, yeah, but say welcome to Altun Ha. And Altun Ha, not the original site. This is the instruction one. And this archaeological site, the original name is still known. The archaeological site a mile away from here, a convoy is coming right now from
Are these wild dogs or
No, those are for dogs from people that lives in the community. We are actually not too far away from the small village that
Yesterday, John's, when they had the little thing where the dancers would drop down, you know, and they were all up at the top, and it spent quite a while before they got ready to go.
Yes.
There was a group of guys back behind us. They were drunk. They started yelling, jump,
I tell you that we are having a very wonderful day today.
Is that why you brought us in the morning instead of the afternoon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our average humidity is like 85 to 95%.
wow?
With an average temperature of like about the same 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So it gets very hot here and humid.
But that's better than cold and white.
Yes.
Yeah.
He won.
Don't want ice or snow.
I have a friend of mine who's from Belize. He's from Chicago. We work together. And come October, when the weather temperatures start falling, you see this poor guy. He was dressed
shivering.
up. Oh my God! I'd be like this, and he could have it.
It's like us here in Belize, being that it's tropical country, it gets like 40 degrees when we start covering up like Eskimos. Belizean mahoganies, can we gather a little bit closer so that we can start? So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful site of Altun Ha. But before I talk about Altun Ha, I want to give you guys a brief little history about the Mayas. Okay? So when we talk about the Mayas, we have to talk about Christopher Columbus. There is this theory that when Christopher Columbus and the Spanish conquest made their voyage in 1502, they came across some of these people in a large dugout canoe, where he asked them in Spanish who they were and what they were doing, and their response to him was Maya. Maya, which means I don't know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that theory is all BS. It is basic speculation. It does not add up. So when we talk about the Mayas, we have to go back as far as 7,000 years before Christ, at the time of the Second Ice Age. It is believed that these people, they came from Mongolia. They came across using the Bering Strait at the time of the Second Ice Age when it was all frozen. They came across as hunters and nomadic gatherers. So they came across and they settled as far as the tip of North America, and they eventually went all the way down to the tip of South America. So all these people, when we talk about the Incas from Peru and the Aztecs from Yucatan, they are all related. Only that they were given different names, and they were given the different names because of the period of time that they were living in. So breaking down the periods, it started as knowing as the archaic period, where these people were just living in small settlements, and after the archaic period then came along the Olmec period, a very important period for these people, because in the Olmec period was when they started with their constructing of temples. They started with their shamanic practices and beliefs, foundation for the road. But while they were doing that, one of them found a piece of jade. Now, being that jade does not occur naturally here in Belize, people got curious to the point where they brought in authorities. They brought in the authorities and they found out that it was actually a Mayan site. So from 1964 to 1971, they came here and they did a partial excavation. It was carried out by the Royal Ontario Museum of Canada, and it was spearheaded by Dr. David Pendergast. So when they came here and they uncovered and started excavation efforts, that structure was the first structure that they actually uncovered. Now he figured out that this structure here started construction 200 AD. They found a burial inside, digging about halfway going through from a top. Inside that tomb they found the remains of a priest, which dates 550 AD. Now inside that tomb they found over 300 pieces of jade, hence they gave it a nickname, the Temple of the Green Tomb. Also inside that tomb they found some pottery vessels. Inside one of those pottery vessels they found a codex. Any of you familiar with what a codex is? For those of you who are not familiar with what a codex is a book that they were doing their recordings on. It was made from the bark of the paper tree. It was stuccoed with a limestone type material, and it was folded the way an accordion folds. Now, because of our climate being subtropical and humid, when they found this codex, it was so rapidly deteriorated that information could not have been retrieved from it. Also inside that tomb they found a stingray spine. Now the stingray spine was very, very important for their cultural beliefs and their shamanic practices. The reason for this was because they were doing a bloodletting ritual. No evidence of human sacrifice was found at the site of Altun Ha, but they were doing bloodletting rituals. Now they would have taken the stingray spine, they would have pierced for the females the tongue, the nipples and the ears. They would have passed the barb through, collecting the blood, add it with copal incense, burning it, giving it as offerings to the god. For the males, they would have done the same piercing, only that they would have pierced the foreskin of the genital. Collecting the blood, adding it with copal incense and burning it, giving it as offerings to the gods. Now we have this structure over here, structure A2. This one supports the evidence that Altun Ha was a trading site, because at the height of the civilization here, this is exactly what you would have seen. It was built there as a purpose to sit people when they were actually doing businesses within the plaza floor. Then we have structure A3. If you take a closer look at the structure, you can see there are 9 stairs going up to the first terrace. Those 9 stairs represent the 9 levels of the underworld. Also, at the height when they found the structure, when they uncovered it, it had 2 masts, one flanking both sides. Something you got to keep in mind: when the Mayas were doing their construction, they built symmetrical. So whatever is on one side of the structure will be directly on the other. But again, because of the material that these structures are made from, limestone, which gets very porous, and because of our humidity and climate, this was all deteriorated. It had 2 masts flanking both sides, representing the rain god Cha. Now what archaeologists did, they covered it up, made a frieze from fiberglass, they placed those stones over them. Eventually they're going to take those off, leaving 2 perfectly restored masts. Now at the height of the civilization, would have saw this structure here having a square chambered building on top with a vaulted roof, which was known as a corbel arch. Now a corbel arch is where you place stones on top of stones until they meet, and then you place a capstone on top. Okay? Exactly. We have this structure here directly behind me. This structure here was one of the most recent structures that they uncovered here at the site of Altun Ha. Prior to that, they thought that it was just a border between Plaza A and Plaza B, when it was actually a residential palace having access, doorway access on both sides of the 2 plazas. Also, it was connected to structure A5 and B1 over on that side. Now take a look at this structure right here, structure A5. The Mayas, they were building their structures in sequences. This was one of the structures that saw its construction effort all the way from foundation to finish in one effort. So at the height of the civilization, this would have had two parallel walls stretching all the way across, one doorway in the center. Again, they gave it a nickname, the Temple of the Bowling Alley. It had a stairway coming all the way in front, and about halfway down that stairway they found the remains of a juvenile female. Now why they knew that it was a juvenile female was because of the pelvic bone, and the remains also had an anklet around one of the ankles. Also along inside that burial they found a polychrome plate depicting a hummingbird inside that plate. Then we have structure A7 over on that side. That would have been a flat terrace platform with a pole and thatch roof building on top. It would have been like a security booth where people would have checked in when they made their way coming up into the plaza. Now if you notice something when we were coming up on the bus, if you were paying attention on the bus, my colleague said that northern Belize is all flatlands with seasonal swamps and savannas. So we are in northern Belize. And if you notice when we were coming up, we came up on a slightly elevated area, which means that the site of Altun Ha was raised. So all the plaza floor in here was raised approximately 3 meters with 2 construction efforts. So the grass here is not original. This was all plastered with the same stucco type material. So imagine coming in here at a day when the sun is very bright, with the glare coming off this, it would have been very treacherous, okay? We have structure A7 over on that side. Now, that structure there is the largest structure that you're going to see today, not by height but by mass. And at the height of the civilization, this structure here saw its construction effort in one effort also. So at the height of the civilization, it would have had 3 parallel walls stretching all the way across. 13 doorways in the front, 6 in the middle, and 13 to the back. But with eventual construction efforts, some of those doors were eventually closed, leaving only 13, which represents the 13 levels of the heavens. Now I'm talking about 13 and 9. Something you got to keep in mind, that the Mayas, they believed that the universe or the world was flat. It was square. On the 4 corners were backup gods which helped hold up the heavens. They had 13 levels of heavens and 9 levels of the underworld. The underworld was known as Xibalba, and the upper world, the 13 levels, was known as Tamawanchan from the Quechua dialect. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, we believe in 4 cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. The Mayas, they had 6 cardinal points, with each one of these cardinal points represented by a specific color. So for north was represented by white because of the mountains that snowed in Mexico. South was represented by yellow because of corn, their main staple food. East was orange because of where the sun rose, and west was black because of where the sun set. The other 2 colors, blue represented by up, green down, the greenery of the earth. So they had 6 cardinal points. Okay, any questions so far? Well, if no one has any other questions, we make our way over to the other plaza where we finish, and then from there the time is yours, okay?
Was Altun Ha big enough, important enough to have a ball court?
No. It was a trading site rather than a sacrificial or ceremonial site. It was used only for trading.
Yeah.
Sun's coming out.
Yes, it is. Gonna get hot.
How many batteries for that?
3. Have they basically uncovered everything there is to uncover, or
No.
are there things outside the boundaries
All the structures that you see are cleared.
Yeah,
They are excavated, but partially excavated.
yeah.
So they are still stuff inside that they haven't uncovered.
But if you went farther out in the jungle, would you find?
This is the only area that they have uncovered, the
Okay.
central precinct. The site itself is 5 square miles.
Oh, okay.
So to the back there's a plaza bigger than both these ones together that hasn't been
Hasn't-
excavated
okay.
as yet, but there are efforts to do so.
So did I. I finally got it.
So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Plaza B. Now if you notice when we were in Plaza A runs from north to south. This one runs from east to west. Okay? Now this plaza here is a much younger plaza than Plaza A. Earliest construction here in this plaza was this mound right here, B2, which dates 600 AD. Now the reason I'm talking about this one here is because what you see there is just a mound, when actually a residential palace was standing there. But as I mentioned earlier, they were quarrying material for the road that we came upon. This was one of the structures that actually got destroyed by that quarrying. But archaeologists, they still went ahead and they done testing inside, and they found that it was a residential palace. No major findings were found inside, and they carbon dated it to 600 AD. All this area here would have been residential palaces. The most important one here is actually the one in the center, where if you get a chance to go a bit closer, you can see the T-shaped holes in the walls. Those T-shaped holes represents the wind god, Ik. So this palace here would have been called the Ik Palace. It would have had a vaulted roof on top, the same corbel arch, and when archaeologists they found it, on the terrace that you see coming out, it had a pole and thatch roof coming off the vaulted roof. It had 2 large pottery vessels on both sides that they were using to collect rainwater. Directly behind it had a square sunken hole that archaeologists believe that the priest that was ruling this structure at the time, this was also his residential palace. Now he was using the sunken hole to the back as a area where he would have done cleansing baths before he made his way up the structure. The one way over on that side. Now archaeologists, they still do not know the exact purpose of this structure. They did not go inside to find any findings inside, but they believe that because of the placement within the plaza floor, it is a representation of some high deity, being that where it is located. Again, if you take a closer look going back to this one here, you can see that the T-shapes in the walls are very low. It gives a perfect example of the height of these people, an average height of 5 feet 4 inches. Now if you take a look at the stairs, you can see the stairs are very tall. It would have been that these people would have, it would perceive to us that it would have been difficult for a person 5 feet 4 inches climbing up these stairs, being that the stairs are so huge, right? Well, these structures were not made to be climbed on a day-to-day basis. Only the elites were allowed up these structures, and when they actually climbed the structures, they climbed on their all fours as a purpose of giving reverence to their gods. Now again, take a look at this structure. This is the highlight here at Altun Ha. You can see at the first terrace there are 5 masks on the structures, 2 flanking both sides, 1 in the center on that small altar. There are 10 columns would have gone all the way up with the same corbel arch stretching all the way across. It would have had 9 columns, 9 entrances between those 10 columns, which again represents the 9 levels of the underworld. The structure here itself rises 54 feet from off the plaza floor. Now if you take a look, you can see that the structure itself has layers. Well, these layers, they come about because these structures were not made, some of them were not made within one effort. So the way that they were doing these different layers, it would have taken a 52-year cycle. And the reason for that is because the Mayas, they had 2 calendars, a short count and a long count. The long count had 365 days. It had 18 months of 20 days, which made 360. It had an extra month consisting of 5 days, which made up 365 days. They also had a short count, which was known as the Zolkin. It had 260 days, 13 months of 20. Now if you would mark a specific date on both those calendars, they don't coincide until 52 years have passed, and that is known as a sacred round or a calendar round. So when people got scared on December 21st, 2012, when they said that the world was coming to an end because the Maya calendar is ending, it was just the end and start of a new 52-year cycle. So when 52 year comes about, if the person who is ruling the structure at the time, if he doesn't die, he either repaints the structure or starts a new level of construction on top. If he dies within that 52 years, he is buried inside his area is covered up solidly, and then his successor comes and starts a new phase of construction over on top. That is why you see the different layers. And it is believed that inside each one of those layers, there are different tombs inside. Okay? Now take a look at the huge square part projecting out towards us. When they found this site and they uncovered that area, that was where they found one of the largest carved piece of jade that was ever found throughout the 5 countries that makes up the Mayan world. It is a representation of the sun god, Kinich Ahau. Now, when they found this piece of jade, also inside that tomb they found an additional 400 pieces of jade along with the priest that was ruling the structure. Now the jade piece that they found, a representation of the sun god Kinich Ahau, it is a representation of a human skull. It weighs 9 3/4 pounds. It stands 6 inches in height, and it is believed on the black market this can fetch $40 million US. 40 million US dollars. This right here, Kinich Ahau. Now ladies and gentlemen, one more thing before I give you your time. On top of this structure they also found a small sacrificial altar, but I mentioned no evidence of human sacrifice. They found the remains of animal bones, the same stingray spine, some copal incense that was found in that little sunken area right up on top. Any questions? Well, if no one has any question, guys, your time starts now. But take a look at your watches or your timepiece. We have until 5 after 11, our time, Belize time.
Back at the bus.
Back at the bus.
Okay.
So that is like about 30 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move from here, we have this structure here to climb. We have A3 and structure A1. For those who don't want to climb, we are only confined to this central area, or you can go back to the buses or to the shops. You can have some, you can browse the shops, maybe have some beers, you can try some local wine, or even do some wood carving shopping.
All right, what's your favorite beer?
My favorite beer? Belikin. It's the only one that we make here. And this one is on the Belikin beer. So if you climb this one, then you get some blessings from the Mayan god. So who's going up? I am going up on that one.
God bless you.
I was up last year. I ain't going again. I think you and Bill should go up, Loretta. We did last year. My shoes? He can't climb in those shoes?
Yeah, you can go up that.
Can you wear a size 13?
We'll meet you on the other side.
Wow. Well, we didn't come here last time
We didn't come back here because we went up the pyramid.
because we went up the pyramid. No. I think you got.
Why
You
do
can
they
wear
let-
these.
Why do they let people climb on this? I thought they'd all been banned.
Because
No.
this is a more human-oriented. I'm not moving.
I was trying to move you out of the way so you didn't make a pinch point.
Take our picture if we come to the top
Yes.
with our camera.
Yes.
You don't want to take pictures from up there?
You can take a picture with GoPro.
Yeah, I've got it all, the video running. In fact, bro,
You better like
I will even climb it again just to go with you and video your climb.
really.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
You know, these steps are hard even for big guys.
Yeah. Like the steps in the pool yesterday at Costa Maya.
I'll meet you at the bottom of the stairs in the back.
Okay. I'll walk behind you so I can video your climb.
Guys, use the railings when going up, please.
Find something to pull me in. I'm not looking at those other ones.
Are you ready?
They just slide out
We
those
gotta
things
ask
like
you
nothing, and they're so
You like the
completely
rough
small and steep.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the base of a particular temple?
When I see a snake, I've heard of that. It's like an ordinary snake. We had some that's been
There you go.
the archaeologists put these steps in.
Where did they quarry all of the limestone from? All right here. All right here. I wasn't going to do this again, but they wanted pictures of themselves climbing, so. Things you'll do for friendship, huh?
Take your time, you can hold my hand. Yes, thank you.
Hold the line there, right, Lucy? Lucy, hold the line there, right? alright, buddy? You keep away from the edges, okay? I'll have you. Yeah. Last one. Just keep away from the edge, alright?
I will. Yeah, I'm fine. We get a picture of you and Bill standing over there.
Alright, guys, it's only for a few minutes.
Can you stand there?
No, I mean right at the here. Bill, come here. You and Loretta just stand over by the edge. Get that other.
You have the camera?
I've got it. Set it on camera.
Put it on video. And you tap it, the counter will start.
Okay.
And you tap it again, it will stop.
Okay.
Yes, bus 577. After taking pictures, this is the way down.
Okay.
Yes, this
Gone?
is there right here. Down.
It's a human sacrifice.
The slide is over here.
See, I can't tell if it's on or not.
At the top of the counter. See the counter at the top?
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's going now. I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't read it. This is at the top of the temple in.
Oddly enough, 40 years of marriage, we're still sacrificing a virgin. Okay, we get it. Oh, take just a snapshot. Flip it over to photo, take a picture of it.
Snap.
Didn't see any
And then one more.
This is the one that takes days at home, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
It's not snapping my.
Anyone else?
Okay, I probably took 3 of them unknowing. Okay. We got 15 minutes to get down, look in the shops maybe, and get to the bus.
This is nice. Anyone else need any assistance?
Going down is a lot easier.
Yes, guys, if you're finished taking pictures and you want to go down, you can start going down the other way.
Okay, I can do that.
I'll go behind you so I can get pictures of you going down too.
I know why they stopped the custom of sacrificing a virgin. Couldn't find it.
Actually, at Chichen Itza, they said most of the people they threw in the well were young boys.
You can turn that way and go down that way. Hold on this way.
And go backwards.
No.
Just sideways.
Yes, turn that way. And
Yeah.
yes. One step at a time. Yes, and hold on the way.
Big steps.
Any more about 5
Yeah.
There's a lot better than Carlos said the price on the boat was not unreasonable.
I mean, they were full price 60 and we got them on marked down to 45 or something, I think. And they feel so much better. I used to buy the SAS for shit 170 or something. These are much more comfortable. Yeah, the sun's gone out. Yeah. The red light's still blinking, huh, Bill? On my camera.
How you all doing? All right. Did you enjoy the view from up top? Oh yeah. Right that way. Just watch the steps slippery.
That's my shoe on the beach.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're still blinking.
Okay.
So what are we going to eat?
Chicken, beans and rice, salad, and a soft drink.
Sounds good. That will be before we get on the boat?
Yes.
Guys want to check on the baby car?
10:53. Where's Karen? She was going to be waiting for us. Oh, there she is. I got it on my GoPro. I think the next time, instead of making all those DVDs, I'll just buy a thumb drive, and throw it on the thumb drive and mail it to you. Because I need to do the March pictures and video from last year where you were scuba diving.
Aaron, he was safe. They only sacrificed virgins.
Virgin boys.
That could be a thing. You guys know too anything.
That's why we like trivia. We got 20 at the 50s and 60s music trivia last night out of 42.
We're at 28.
28, what'd I say?
When?
No, we had 28. Huh?
What kind of nuts are those on the ground? All over.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
We have to be back at the bus at 5 after.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes to be at the bus.
I gotta walk by the bathroom, so.
Yeah.